Hello everybody, my name is Alan, I'm from Sauber-Lab and today will be another video about Proxmox. The truth that this video will be number 6. In this video I will show how you can get a container, the same one that we create last video, and that transform this container as a template. And then you're gonna ask, Alan, why I want to continue watching this video if a container is so easy to create? And it's simple. Imagine that you already create a container, make some pre-configuration or install some applications as Docker, as a Portainer and others application, or either Apache that you want to have a web server, and then everything set up, work in the way that you want. Then you save it, update, create as a template, and all the time that you want to create another clone about this container, it's easy, only clone it and reduce the chance that you change something that don't work the way that you want. So before you start to watch this video, I really suggest you to look for my previous videos. Otherwise, you're not gonna have a container, you're not gonna have a Proxmox install, and any other knowledge that is required in order to watch these videos. So if you like this idea and want to learn a little bit more about this, we're gonna show in this video. But first of all, don't forget to leave your like, consider to subscribe for the channel, and let's see how can we do it. So let's start from the basic. First of all, I have my Proxmox installed. In this Proxmox, I have only one node where it's called as a Sauber-Lab. This Sauber-Lab is inside my data center. I didn't start to create more nodes, but I hope that I can do it in the next videos. Also, I already have exactly the same configuration that we did last time. So this configuration has my template for a virtual machine. I have a few virtual machine that was created last time. Also, I have my ZFS where I have a mirror configuration where I have 2 hard drives of 500 gigabytes, and those hard drives work as a mirror to make sure that if one fail, we'll be sure that the other one don't fail. As well, I have my local and my LVM where I have the hard drive where it's my US. And you're gonna ask, Alan, should I use this hard drive for anything? No, you should not use, because the chance to fail is quite high compared for others hard drive. Other thing, if you're using for production, I really suggest you to make a mirror in this hard drive, and that make RAID, at least RAID 5 or 6, to have more hard drives in this ZFS. In this way, you don't lose all your capacity for one hard drive without so much gain. If one hard drive for US fail, you always have this data in another place, so make sure that you don't lose all your configuration. Other thing that we have this container, the one that was created last time, and this container I have one core, I have 1 GB of run memory and 1 GB of swap usage, and boot disk it's only 8 GB. And you're gonna ask, Alan, 8 GB enough? Yes, I think that's enough. If I come in for my virtual machine, I have 32 GB, and if I come in my container, I have only 8 GB. Why it happened? In the previous video, I show you that if you're using a container, you require much less capacity of your hard drive, so they only have some basic information installed, compared for a virtual machine that have a lot of things. You have basically an operating system running. Other thing that's interesting for you check, I don't know if I comment last video or not, if I come here in resource, I can only add some small information. I can only modify my memory, my swap, my core, and some ZFS configuration. I can add more things. Yes, I can only add a mount point. If I come here in a virtual machine, I have much more things that I can add. Look like in hardware, I have all those information that I can modify. I can modify my memory, my processor, my BIOS, display, machine, and other things. It's one advance to have a virtual machine, but it will use more for your system. But in other side, you have more options. You can add external disk or a mounting point or lots of other things. So return here in my container. This is my container. If I come here in console, it's not running. So I can come here, put in start, and I wait 2-3 seconds until they fully start the system. So let's wait. Now they just start. The name of this container is Ubuntu 2, and now I can access it. Because I already create my user, I can access as a Sauber-Lab, but in this case I will access as a root because I will not do so many configuration this stage. So put root, put my password, and now I have my machine open. If I check the IP address for this machine, will be IP address And now the IP address for this machine is 192.168.1.155. So now, only to be better for everyone to see this page, I will open my put, and that we can start to do all the configuration. So let's open my put. So first time that I access, the red appeared this message that is a potential issue or risk. I put yes. And now I will log in with my user Sauber-Lab. If I try to log in as a root, it will not open. This reason that we need to create a user. So put Sauber-Lab, put my password, and now I have my system working. And now you're gonna ask, I can start to install all my configuration, put sudo and apt-get and continue on. Yes, you can, but only to avoid that you're gonna have some issues, we can already log in as a root. So sudo su, and I will ask my password. I put my password here, and now I'm running as a root, as admin. So I don't need to put my command sudo all the time that I run any steps. So I will put clear this page. So first thing that we're gonna do is to update our system. In order to update our system, it's really simple. We're only gonna run this step: apt update and update upgrade. Don't worry, this installation will take a long time because they will do a full upgrade and full update for my system. So let's put it and wait around 5 minutes until they finish it. So I'll put enter, and they will do everything automatically. They will not ask you, you want to install 200, 300 megabytes? No, they will say, I will install it, and that's it. Only to save time and avoid that if you go out and come back, they will have that prompted and say, they didn't download anything, will take 5-6 minutes, and you'll be, oh my gosh, I should put yes. In this case, they didn't advise how many usage that they want because they will not ask permission, but will be around 200, 300 megabytes. After this one, we can see how much of my hard drive they use. Before, they use around 400, 500. Now we can check and compare how much more it's with all the updates required. So let's wait this one to finish. Okay, once that we finish to update our system, we can come here and clear our page. Remember, before we started to run these steps, this configuration only is required for a Linux-based system. If you're using Windows, don't need to do it. You can only clone your container, and then we clean all our system. And the next step, we go for apt-out remove. It's only used to remove all the old programs. In this way, all the dependency programs will disappear, and that will be only the new ones and the current in use. This one sometimes happen because one container or one program needs to install, and they need to install all these programs in order to be able to install. And after they install, they don't need those. So this is the idea. They can clean all those old ones. So I put enter, and I have no application that I need to clean. Next step, I need to check our SSH key. To check our SSH key, first we need to enter in this SSH folder. To do it, it's really simple. We can run cd etc SSH and put enter, and we are in this folder. We can check what is inside. To check, it will be ls, and now we check everything. Now what we can do, we can remove everything that's not required. All the time that OpenSSH create the certification, they create all this SSH host, SSH host, and those will have a conflict in the case that you open 2 or 3 configurations or 2 or 3 containers through the SSH with the same key. To avoid it, it's really simple. We can come and delete it. To delete will be rm, SSH and host. Everything after this one will be deleted. So they will keep SSH configuration, and that's it. So let's run it and let's see if it's really work. So ls. Now I know that all the configuration from host disappear. Next step, we're gonna check how much capacity that they use. I forgot to do it, so let's do it. It will be tf/h, and now the increase for 500 megabytes. So before I was using 400, 450, now it's 510. So they didn't use so much for my hard drive. If I have 8 gigabytes, they use only 7%. So I still have 7.6. Of course, if you start to create some containers or other application that use database or anything, they will use this memory more. But at this stage, they are not using so much. So let's return for our installation. Next step is to check the ID for our machine. To check our ID will be cat etc machine ID and run it. What can I do? I will get a notepad and copy this information to check it. When I create a new clone or create a new container, they will have a different machine ID. So I can copy it and open one notepad. Here my notepad already saved exactly the same ID, only to be sure that I keep this information safe, and I put here my site. Next step, we need to delete this ID. But first let's clear this page, and now we need to delete it. I can put RM and put that ID machine. No, it don't work. I try it, but it don't work. I suggest you to set as a 0. I'm gonna remove it and use this follow step. Trunk S0 machine ID, and we're gonna run it. And now we can check if it really works. We can come here and check the ID and will not appear anything exactly that I want. So now I have my machine update. I have clear all the information that I don't want. I remove my SSH keys that I need only for each machine to be specific, and I don't have ID. So now I can come here and put power off, and I will shut down this machine. So if I put OK, I can come back my Proxmox page. Here my Proxmox page, they already start shutdown, and once that appear stopped, it means that it's not working at all. Now what I can do, yes, I can create my template. Remember, if I come here and create as a template or convert as a template, you cannot return it. They will be as a template forever. So let's do it and put yes. Now what they start to do, they start to create my template. So it will take a little bit until they convert as a template, not so much, but it will take. You're gonna know that's a convert when this symbol will change. This symbol already changed exactly the same as I have my template for virtual machine. They have an empty paper with the symbol for container or empty paper with the symbol for virtual machine. So I know that has been created as a template. Next step, what we can do, we can clone this container and start to do the configuration. To do it, I can come here and put clone it. Before I clone, I can ask you, I can start this template? No, you cannot start because you don't have any other option. You can only clone, manage, or remove. I don't want to remove, I don't want to manage, so I wanted to create others clone, and I can create as many clone as I want. So I put here clone, and I set up the ID. In my case, because I'm using a container, I will set up as a O3, that's fine. Host name, I can put as a clone Ubuntu, it's the same name. And I have option for linked clone or full clone. If I leave linked clone, it means that any modification in my template or any modification in my clone will affect my template, and don't want to do it. So I'll put a full clone. I select where I want to save it. In my case, I will save my ZFS. So here I put ZFS and put clone. Now is the time that they will clone this machine, and that's I will have a new machine basically empty. You need to do some small configuration, but it's basically empty. Here will take some time because they will start to create, and you know that's finish the configuration once that's disappear the key here. Now that's disappear everything, I come here in my summaries and I have all my information. Before I start, I will check my resource, and exactly the same. And summaries, I don't have anything running. Now I can start my container. Before I start, I come here in console and put start. To start it will take a few seconds because it's really fast. And now that's already started, I will log in as a root. So I'll put root, I'll put my password. And then you're gonna ask, why don't access directly with SSH? It's simple, because the key has not been created. I know that the virtual machine, we can do other configurations, but in this way, in a container is a little bit different. So if I come here and open my SSH keys, I put paste here, cd etc SSH, and I put ls, I don't have any specific keys, so in order to access my SSH, I need to have those keys. To do it, I can only create a new configuration. To create my configuration, I will put this step, dpkg, reconfigure SSH server, and run it. Now they create all my keys, so it's only check if it has been created. Really, it's ls, and now I have all my keys again. Now we can open our PuTTY and try to see if it has been configured successful and I can access my machine. But before I open my PuTTY, I need to know what IP address that I'm using, so I put IP address, and I know that IP address will be end with 99. So open my PuTTY and put 192.168.1.99, and I changed the appearance only to be a little bit bigger for you guys, and put open. And now the first time there will appear this key that you can access it, so put yes, and I access as a Sauber-Lab, because as a root will not work at all, so put Sauber-Lab and put my password. And now I access my SSH. Now with this SSH open, I can do any configuration at once. I can change the name of the machine, I can start to install new containers, new Docker applications, and continue on. So in this stage, everything that you need to do for your project, you can do in the same way that you're gonna do in a virtual machine, with some limitations, of course. So guys, I hope that you liked this video. In this video, I show how you can create a template from your container. Remember, all those configurations that I did, it's more focused for Linux-based container. If you're using other kind of containers or Windows or everything, you don't need to do this kind of procedures, because you don't need to reset your ID of machine or neither your SSH configuration. So, if you like this video and think that it was interesting, don't forget to leave your like, consider to subscribe for the channel, and see you next time. Bye.